Self-education is the cornerstone of transformation. There is no more powerful truth when it comes to shaping a life you love. You see, formal education will give you the basic tools to earn a living. But it is self-education, what you choose to learn beyond the classroom, that determines the kind of life you build. The books you read, the seminars you attend, the ideas you entertain, and the people you surround yourself with all add up to your personal growth. And personal growth is the seedbed of lasting change. Too many people believe that learning ends after school, but that's not true. That's where survival learning ends and success learning begins. School teaches us how to pass the test. Life teaches us how to create value. And if we want to do better, we must become better. If we want to earn more, we must learn more. The marketplace rewards value, and you increase your value by investing in your mind. The truth is, self-education puts you back in control of your destiny. It allows you to break free from the patterns you've inherited, the limitations you've accepted, and the ceilings you didn't know were there. It shifts your mindset from I can't to how can I? And that's the beginning of every major life transformation. Because once you ask the right questions, you'll find the right answers. And when you find the right answers, you change your life. You can tell a lot about a person's future by looking at their daily habits. And one of the most powerful habits you can adopt is the habit of learning something new every single day. You don't have to study for hours. Just give it 15 minutes. Read a few pages of a book that stretches your thinking. Listen to a podcast that challenges your assumptions. Reflect on a conversation and ask yourself what it taught you. This is how growth happens. Not in a moment, but over time. The good news is, self-education doesn't require a degree or a certificate. You don't need permission to get started. You just need curiosity and commitment. If you're willing to learn, the world will become your classroom. Every experience will become a lesson. Every failure will become feedback. And every step forward will become a stepping stone to the life you've imagined. But here's something else to remember. Knowledge alone is not enough. You have to act on what you learn. You have to test ideas, apply strategies, and observe results. It's in the doing that understanding deepens. Self-education is not about collecting information. It's about building wisdom, and wisdom comes from experience, reflection, and adjustment. People often say, I don't have time to learn, but that's just not true. The time is there. It's just been given to other things. If you spend hours watching TV or scrolling through your phone, you've made a choice. And that's the point. Learning is a choice. Growth is a choice. Transformation is a choice. And your choices shape your future. Let me ask you, what are you feeding your mind? Are you reading things that uplift you? Are you listening to people who challenge and stretch you? Are you exposing yourself to new ways of thinking that ignite your imagination? You can't pour water into a cup that's already full. So sometimes self-education also means unlearning. It means emptying out the false beliefs, the limiting ideas, and the inherited doubts, and replacing them with truth, possibility, and courage. One of the most powerful things Jim Rohn ever said was, don't let your learning lead to knowledge. Let your learning lead to action. So take what you learn and build something with it. Change something with it. Improve something with it. And then pass it on. Share what you know. Teach someone else. Because when you teach it, you own it. And when you own it, you become it. So remember, your future is not defined by your past. It's defined by the decisions you make today. And the most important decision you can make is to become a student of life. Learn every day. Grow every day. Stretch yourself every day. Because the more you learn, the more you earn. Not just in dollars, but in confidence, in influence, in peace of mind, and in the kind of life that reflects your best self. Self-education is the seed. Action is the soil. And your future is the harvest. So plant wisely. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. It's the quiet, consistent force that turns dreams into reality. Without it, goals remain ideas, good intentions floating in the air. But when you apply discipline, you give your goals structure, momentum, and life. Discipline is not about punishment or rigidity. It's about the steady application of effort in the direction of what you value most. It's doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. Everybody wants something: a better body, a thriving business, deeper relationships, financial freedom. But not everyone is willing to pay the price. That price is discipline. Discipline means choosing growth over comfort, long-term results over short-term pleasure. It's the art of keeping your commitments after the mood you made them in has passed. And that's where real strength is found. Discipline begins with awareness. You have to know what you want, and then you have to know what it will take. When you understand the price, you're faced with a choice: to step forward with purpose or to stay where it's safe. The difference between successful people and those who struggle isn't talent or luck. It's their ability to act with discipline, day after day, in small, deliberate ways. Let me tell you, success doesn't come in one grand moment. It comes in the quiet hours of the morning, when you choose to rise and work instead of sleep. It comes in the moments when you say no to distractions and yes to your priority. It comes when you do the workout, make the call, write the page, study the material, especially when no one is watching. Because discipline isn't about impressing others, it's about honoring yourself. You don't find discipline, you build it. You build it like a muscle. The more you practice it, the stronger it becomes. And just like with any muscle, there's pain in the process. But on the other side of that pain is growth. Every disciplined effort compounds into results. One disciplined day leads to another. One disciplined choice creates momentum. And momentum is what carries you through the tough seasons. People often say, "I'm not a disciplined person." But that's just a story. Discipline is not a personality trait. It's a decision. Every day you get to choose. And every time you choose discipline, you strengthen your willpower. You start to see yourself differently. You stop identifying with excuses and start identifying with results. One of the keys to building discipline is clarity. You must know why you're doing what you're doing. If the reason is strong enough, the discipline follows. Jim Rohn used to say, "When the promise is clear, the price is easy." In other words, when you can clearly see the reward at the end, the sacrifice doesn't feel so heavy. So take time to define your goals. Make them vivid. Make them personal. Attach them to something meaningful. Another key to discipline is structure. You can't rely on willpower alone. It's limited. But structure creates an environment that supports your discipline. That means planning your days, setting your schedule, creating routines, and eliminating as many decisions as possible. When the environment supports your goals, discipline becomes less about force and more about flow. And remember, discipline doesn't mean perfection. It means persistence. You're going to slip. You're going to fall short. That's part of it. The disciplined person doesn't get everything right. They just don't quit. They keep showing up. They learn from mistakes. They adjust. They recommit. That's what makes the difference in the long run. Think about the compounding effect of discipline. You save a little money each month, and over time, you create wealth. You study for 30 minutes a day, and over time, you gain mastery. You choose kindness daily, and over time, you build trust. That's the magic of discipline. It seems small in the moment, but it creates something extraordinary over time. Ultimately, discipline is about self-respect. It's telling yourself that you're worth the effort, that your goals matter, that your life is worth building intentionally. Every time you act with discipline, you cast a vote for the person you're becoming. You move one step closer to the future you desire. So if you want to build a life you love, you must become a person of discipline. It's not easy, but it is worth it. The pain of discipline is temporary. The rewards are lasting. So rise early, stay focused, do the work, build the habits, keep your word. Because on the other side of discipline is freedom. Freedom to live, to give, to create, and to become all that you were meant to. You attract success by the person you become. That's one of the most powerful principles you'll ever learn. Success isn't something you chase. It's something you magnetize by developing your character, your mindset, and your habits. Most people spend their time running after success, chasing opportunities, trying to force outcomes. But the truth is, Real success comes as a result of inner transformation. When you focus on becoming more disciplined, more skilled, more valuable, you naturally begin to draw the right circumstances, people, and opportunities. Jim Rohn used to say, if you want to have more, you have to become more. That statement is simple, yet profound. Many people think that if they just had better luck, better resources, or a better break, things would finally change. But life doesn't respond to wishes. Life responds to value. And the way you increase your value is by becoming a person of value. This journey begins with self-awareness. You have to look at your current results and ask yourself, what kind of person created these outcomes? If you don't like your results, it's not about blaming external factors. It's about looking inward. Who do you need to become in order to get better results? What habits do you need to form? What beliefs do you need to challenge? What skills do you need to develop? The moment you take full responsibility for your life is the moment you begin to gain power over it. One of the most liberating truths is that you don't need to change the world to improve your life. You need to change yourself. And when you do, the world around you starts to respond. You'll notice better conversations, better relationships, better decisions, and better results. Why? Because you've raised your own standard. You've elevated your thinking. You've upgraded your personal operating system. Think of yourself as a magnet. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. If you want to attract health, you have to live in a way that values and prioritizes your physical well-being. If you want to attract wealth, you must cultivate the habits and mindset that generate and manage wealth. If you want to attract strong relationships, you must become someone who listens, supports, and adds value to others. It always starts with who you are. But here's the challenge. Becoming that kind of person takes intentional effort. It means growing through discomfort. It means letting go of old habits that feel familiar but keep you stuck. It means investing time in your growth when others are wasting theirs. It means showing up with integrity, even when nobody's watching. The path to becoming is not easy, but it's the only path to lasting success. You become more by learning more. Read the books, listen to the mentors, study success. But don't just learn, apply, implement, test, reflect. That's how you turn information into transformation. And don't just focus on technical skills. Focus on emotional intelligence, communication, discipline, resilience, empathy. These inner qualities determine how far your outer success will go. Your income rarely exceeds your personal development. Your influence rarely exceeds your character. Your opportunities rarely exceed your preparation. These are not limitations. They're invitations. They're invitations to rise, to take ownership of your journey, to realize that the best investment you'll ever make is in becoming the best version of yourself. This is not about perfection. It's about progression. It's about deciding that you'll no longer be a victim of your circumstances, but a student of your potential. Every day is a chance to grow into someone who is capable of more, deserving of more, and aligned with more. And when you operate from that mindset, you begin to attract not just success, but meaningful, fulfilling success. So ask yourself, who do I need to become to attract the life I truly want? What habits would that person have? How would they think, speak, act, and respond? Then begin, step by step, to embody that version of yourself. Not someday, but today. Start small, stay consistent, and watch how your life begins to shift in response to your growth. Remember, success is not something you pursue. It's something you attract by the person you become. And the beautiful truth is, you get to decide who that person is. So make the decision to grow. Make the decision to become. Because the more you become, the more life will open up to you in ways you never imagined. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. This powerful statement encapsulates the essence of personal growth and resilience. We often find ourselves wishing for smoother paths, fewer obstacles, or a life that's less demanding. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that success will come if only things were easier. if only the conditions were perfect. But life doesn't operate that way. The truth is, the difficulties you face are not the problem. It's the way you approach them that determines your success. When you wish for easier circumstances, you're focusing on external factors, things you can't control. You're hoping for the world to change to meet your desires. But that rarely happens. The world, the marketplace, and life at large aren't concerned with making things easy for you. They simply respond to the effort, skill, and value you bring. The real question is not, how can I make life easier, but how can I become better to meet life's challenges? Improvement, after all, is what separates successful people from everyone else. Successful people aren't necessarily luckier, smarter, or more privileged. They're just better. They've honed their skills, developed their character, and cultivated the mindset that turns challenges into opportunities for growth. They don't avoid discomfort. They lean into it. They don't wish for less struggle. They focus on becoming strong enough to handle whatever comes their way. You'll face obstacles. That's a given. The road to success is never without its bumps, detours, or even outright roadblocks. But the difference between those who succeed and those who don't is how they approach those obstacles. When challenges arise, the successful person asks, what can I learn from this? How can I use this to improve myself? They see adversity as a teacher, a stepping stone to becoming better, more resilient, and more capable. They understand that difficulty is not an indication that something is wrong, but rather a sign that something valuable is happening inside them. The path to mastery, whether in business, relationships, or any other area of life, requires pushing through discomfort. Every skill you acquire, every challenge you overcome, and every lesson you learn is a testament to your growth. And that growth comes from persistence. It's not about avoiding failure, but about learning how to fail forward. Failure doesn't define you unless you allow it to. It's simply part of the process. Every time you fall, you have the choice to rise up, a little wiser, a little stronger, and more determined to move forward. The key is to focus on what you can control: your effort, your response, your mindset. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you react to it. Do you let it defeat you, or do you use it as fuel to grow and improve? The person who focuses on improvement rather than ease has the mindset of a winner. They don't get discouraged when things don't go as planned, because they know that setbacks are part of the game. Instead of wishing things were easier, they ask themselves, what do I need to do to become better at this? What strengths do I need to develop to turn this situation in my favor? Take responsibility for your life. Don't let your circumstances dictate your potential. It's easy to feel like a victim when things don't go the way you want them to, but that's a disempowering mindset. True power comes from taking ownership of your choices, your actions, and your growth. When you stop wishing for an easier life and start focusing on becoming a better version of yourself, you open up new possibilities. You unlock your true potential and gain the confidence that no obstacle is too great for you to overcome. Growth doesn't happen in your comforts. If you're constantly seeking comfort, you're not moving forward, you're stagnating. Progress happens when you step into the unknown, when you take on challenges that test you and push you beyond your limit. And as you face these challenges, you start to realize that you are stronger than you thought. You can handle more than you believed. You can endure more than you imagined. And every time you rise to meet a new challenge, you become better. So stop wishing for things to be easy. Instead, start wishing that you were better equipped to handle whatever comes your way, better prepared to take advantage of every opportunity, and better at turning adversity into growth. The more you focus on improving yourself, the more you'll realize that life's challenges are not roadblocks, but stepping stones that lead to greater heights. The more you embrace the discomfort of growth, the more you'll become the person who can navigate the complexities of life with ease and confidence. Wishing for an easier path will only keep you stagnant, but wishing for self-improvement will propel you towards success. And the more you improve, the more life will open up to you in ways you never thought possible. Set the sail. Don't wait for the wind. This simple but profound idea speaks to the heart of personal initiative and taking control of your own destiny. Too often we wait for the perfect circumstances to act. We tell ourselves that we'll start when the timing is right, when we have enough resources, or when we feel more confident. But the truth is, perfect conditions rarely exist. The key to success isn't waiting for the right moment. It's creating momentum by acting regardless of the conditions around you. You can't control the wind, but you can control how you set your sail. Success in life doesn't come from sitting back and waiting for opportunities to fall into your lap. It comes from stepping forward even when you're uncertain, even when the conditions aren't ideal, and taking deliberate action toward your goals. It's about making decisions, setting plans into motion, and continuously adjusting as you move forward. Waiting for the right time to act is a form of procrastination that keeps you stuck in a state of indecision. But taking action, even if imperfect, starts the process of movement, and movement creates results. There's something incredibly powerful about making the decision to act. It signals to your mind and the universe that you're serious about your goal. Action takes you out of the realm of daydreaming and into the realm of doing. And it doesn't matter if you don't know exactly how things will unfold. What matters is that you begin. The more you set the sail, the more you create opportunities for the wind to catch it and carry you toward your destination. Every great achievement in history started with one person making the decision to act. They didn't wait for perfect conditions. They acted in spite of the uncertainty. Think about all the people who have achieved extraordinary things. They didn't wait for the world to make room for them. They didn't sit around waiting for someone else to give them permission. They set their sail. And while they couldn't control the wind, they used whatever wind they had to move forward. They adapted, learned, adjusted, and kept going. When you set your sail, you're committing to your journey. You're taking ownership of your future. Yes, there will be times when the wind is against you, or when obstacles seem to pop up out of nowhere. But those challenges are part of the process. The key is to keep moving. Even if you're not moving as fast as you want to, you're still moving, and that momentum is powerful. It builds over time. The more you act, the more opportunities you create, and the more you learn along the way. This idea also teaches us about resilience. When the wind shifts and things don't go as planned, it's easy to get discouraged and want to turn back. But the successful person doesn't give up. They adjust their sail. They adapt to the changing circumstances and keep moving toward their goal. They understand that setbacks are not failures. They're lessons. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to learn, refine your approach, and come back stronger. The more flexible you are in the face of adversity, the more you learn to navigate through life's storms. Taking action also brings clarity. You don't need to have everything figured out before you start. Often clarity comes only after you begin. The act of setting the sail, of stepping forward, forces you to engage with reality. You'll find that things you once thought were obstacles are just opportunities in disguise. By taking action, you begin to see possibilities that were hidden when you were stuck in indecision. You'll discover new paths, new resources, and new ways of thinking that would have been impossible to recognize if you had stayed stuck in the planning phase. When you set the sail, you also give yourself the chance to fail. And that's okay. Failure isn't a sign that you should quit. It's simply feedback that shows you how to adjust your approach. Every failure is a lesson learned, and every lesson brings you one step closer to your destination. The most successful people in the world didn't get there by avoiding failure. They got there by failing, learning, and continuing forward. They set their sail and kept going, regardless of the challenges. The idea of setting the sail is also about taking responsibility for your life. It's about realizing that you are the captain of your own ship. The world may not always support you, but you have the power to steer your own course. You get to decide where you're going and how fast you'll get there. And while the wind might not always blow in your favor, the direction you choose to sail will determine the course of your life. So stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop wishing for the wind to change. Set your sail now. Take action to, even if it's small, even if it's imperfect. Take the first step. Trust that the wind will find you and that you'll have the strength to adjust your course as needed. Remember, it's not about waiting for the right conditions. It's about creating momentum by moving forward. So set your sail, take the first step, and see where the journey leads. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This idea may seem simple, but it carries profound implications for your life and growth. The people you surround yourself with have a significant influence on the way you think, act, and even the results you achieve. We all tend to unconsciously model those around us, whether it's their habits, their mindset, or their attitude toward life. If you want to change the trajectory of your life, one of the most powerful ways to do so is by carefully choosing who you spend your time with. Think about it for a moment. If you're constantly around people who complain, who make excuses, or who are negative about their own potential, that mindset will inevitably start to rub off on you. Your belief system will begin to mirror theirs. The conversations you engage in will be filled with limitations, and the energy you bring to your own goals will be diluted. On the other hand, if you surround yourself with people who are driven, who think big, who are optimistic, and who push you to be your best, then that energy and mindset will influence you in powerful ways. The people around you are not just a social network. They're a direct reflection of the kind of person you are becoming. If you want to grow, to evolve, to elevate your life, it's important to surround yourself with individuals who embody the qualities you aspire to develop. If you spend your days with high performers, goal setters, and positive thinkers, you will start to pick up their habits. You'll begin to adopt their way of thinking, their approach to challenges, and their focus on long-term results. You'll learn to think bigger, act with more intention, and refuse to settle for mediocrity. This doesn't mean that you should abandon friends or family who don't share your ambitions or goals, but it does mean that you should be mindful of the time and energy you invest in relationships. If you're serious about achieving your goals and building a life you love, you need to be intentional about who you spend the most time with. You need to create an environment that fosters your growth, that challenges you, that encourages you to stretch beyond your comfort zone. It's important to seek out mentors, people who are where you want to be. These are the individuals who can provide valuable insights, guidance, and encouragement as you navigate your own journey. But mentors don't always have to be people who are far ahead of you in their careers or life. They can be peers who share similar ambitions and values, people who can support and challenge you in ways that help both of you grow. Growth thrives in communities where people encourage each other to be better, where accountability is built into the relationship. Take a moment to evaluate the people you spend the most time with. Are they lifting you up, or are they holding you back? Do they inspire you to be better, or do they reinforce the status quo? Are they passionate about growth, or are they comfortable in their current state? These are important questions to ask yourself, because the truth is that if you want to make a real change in your life, you can't do it alone. You need a support system of people who believe in your potential and who will help you stay focused on your vision. The impact of those around you is not just limited to their direct influence either. The conversations you engage in, the ideas you discuss, and the energy you share with others shape your beliefs and perception. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, doubt, and limitation, those things start to seep into your own mindset. But if you're around people who challenge each other to grow, to reach higher, and to push past their fears, you begin to adopt that mindset as well. Your thoughts begin to shift from "I can't" to "how can I?" and from "it's too hard" to "it's worth the effort." As you raise your standards and surround yourself with individuals who hold themselves and others to high standards, you'll start to see a shift in your own behavior. You'll start setting higher goals, expecting more of yourself, and taking consistent action to achieve those goals. Your results will begin to reflect the influence of the people around you. So take a moment to evaluate your circle. Are you surrounded by people who inspire, motivate, and challenge you to be your best? Or do you find yourself in a cycle of complacency and mediocrity because of the people you spend time with? If you want to build a life you love, it's essential to cultivate relationships that support your personal growth, that help you stay focused on your goals, and that encourage you to become the best version of yourself. Remember, your environment has a powerful influence on your success. Choose wisely the people you allow into your world, and be intentional about seeking out those who will help you reach higher, dream bigger, and grow beyond what you thought was possible. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So make sure you're surrounding yourself with individuals who are helping you become the person you are destined to be. The best way to predict your future is to create it. This statement emphasizes the power of personal responsibility and proactive action in shaping your destiny. Too often, people wait for life to unfold in a way that aligns with their desires or dreams, hoping that circumstances will magically align. However, this is not how success works. Success and fulfillment are the results of consistent, intentional action. If you want to control your future, you must first take control of your present. Creating your future begins with understanding that it's not something that happens to you, it's something you build. Step by step, with every choice you make, every action, every decision, and every moment of effort you invest today lays the foundation for your tomorrow. If you want a better future, you must be the one to design it. It starts with having a clear vision of what you want, then relentlessly pursuing that vision with the belief that you can achieve. Your future isn't determined by luck, fate, or external circumstances. It's shaped by the actions you take today. This idea is empowering because it places the responsibility squarely on your shoulders. You are in control of your own future. The decisions you make, the habits you form, and the actions you take now will determine the path your life will follow. If you want to be successful, you must choose success today. If you want to live a life of purpose, you must start living with purpose today. The future is not something you passively wait for. It's something you actively create. This principle calls for a shift in mindset. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that life is out of your control, that things happen to you, and that you're a victim of circumstance. But that mindset keeps you stuck. It keeps you from realizing your own power to shape your life. The moment you take full ownership of your actions and stop waiting for things to change, you take the first step toward creating the future you want. The process of creating your future begins with clarity. What do you want your life to look like? What are your goals, your dreams, your aspirations? Without clarity, it's difficult to take purposeful action. It's like setting sail without a destination. You'll end up drifting without direction. Take the time to define what success looks like for you. To get clear on your vision. What does your ideal life look like? What kind of person do you need to become to live that life? Once you have that clarity, you must take action. It's not enough to simply dream about the future or wish for things to change. You have to do the work. This means showing up every day, making progress toward your goals, and taking small, consistent actions that will compound over time. It may not always be easy, and there will be moments when you face setbacks or challenges, but each step you take toward your future is an investment in yourself, and each small victory adds up. In addition to action, creating your future requires a deep belief in your own potential. There will be moments of doubt, especially when things don't go as planned. But those are the times when your belief in yourself matters most. If you don't believe that you are capable of achieving your dreams, you won't take the necessary actions to make them a reality. Your belief in your own potential fuels your persistence, your resilience, and your ability to keep moving forward even when things get tough. Remember that every great achievement in history began with someone who believed it was possible, even when no one else did. Another key aspect of creating your future is adaptability. The path to success is rarely straight. It's full of twists, turns, and unexpected detours. The ability to adjust, to pivot when necessary, and to keep moving forward despite challenges is crucial. Things will not always go according to plan, and you will face obstacles that may seem insurmountable at times. But the successful person doesn't give up. They adjust their approach, learn from their mistakes, and continue on their path with renewed determination. Ultimately, creating your future is about developing the mindset of a creator, not a consumer. A creator is someone who takes charge of their life, designs their own destiny, and works tirelessly to bring their vision to life. A consumer, on the other hand, waits for life to hand them opportunities and reacts to external circumstances. To create your future, you must adopt the mindset of a creator. You must believe that you have the power to shape your life, and then act on that belief every single day. When you take responsibility for your future, you empower yourself to make the necessary changes and decisions that will bring you closer to your goals. You stop waiting for the perfect moment and start making the most of the present. Your future is not something that happens by chance. It's something you actively create with your thoughts, your actions, and your persistence. So if you want to predict your future, don't wait for it to unfold. Create it. Take action. Make the decisions today that will lead you to where you want to be tomorrow. The future is in your hands, and it's up to you to shape